Protests erupting across Iran against the Ayatollah's regime as negotiations between the Middle Eastern nation and the U.S. are heating up.
Let's go live now to Nate Foy in London for more. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Todd, Carly, good morning. So this diplomatic back and forth continues this week with Steve Witkoff set to meet with Iran's foreign minister on Thursday in Geneva. But as these talks continue, the threat of American military force looms large. President Donald Trump last Friday said he'll make a decision in the next 10 days or so about whether or not to strike Iran. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister said over the weekend that the country will not cave to American pressure.
If they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution which is based on a win-win game. So there is no need for any military buildup, and military buildup cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
So there's reportedly a couple options on the table for President Trump if negotiations don't go well. Trump may order a limited military strike to gain leverage and force a deal, or he could use a more broad campaign that aims to threaten the regime led by the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The New York Times came out with this on Sunday, entitled, quote, Trump considers targeted strike against Iran followed by larger attack. And as you mentioned, the negotiations play out amid renewed protest in Tehran, where thousands of people have been killed since January. Last Thursday, in fact, was the biggest day of protest since January 11th. So tensions are high. A big week ahead. We mentioned the talks on Thursday. And then after that, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will visit Israel and meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday. We'll send it back to you, Todd and Carly.
All right, Nate Foy, live for us in London. Nate, thank you so much. Let's bring in former NSC Chief of Staff under President Trump, Alex Gray. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. So as Nate was just talking about, the president has a lot of options on the table when it comes to how to deal with Iran. Which option, in your opinion, would lead to the best possible outcome for the United States?
Well, thanks for having me, Carly. I think the best outcome for the United States here is the president uses a surgical strike to go after the missile program, the terrorist proxies, keep them from reconstituting. I really do worry, and I know the president, just based on his history and what he's said for the last 10 years, shares this concern, is that if we go in and we do something more comprehensive, we're potentially going to get dragged into something we can't control. And so I think a strike that is tailored, surgical, targeted, and is very much focused on taking out the most dangerous elements of the regime's tools is most in the interest of the United States.
When it comes to a potential timeline, Marco Rubio is going to be in Israel this week. Does that give you any indication of if a strike does take place, when it would be? I can imagine they wouldn't want that to happen when the Secretary of State is in the region.
Well, I think that's right. And this is the great part about what the president has done in terms of this huge armada and huge toolkit that he's put in the region, is the president really has a lot of flexibility, and that flexibility in terms of when he would use it, whether it's after the secretary leaves, a week after that, a couple days after that, the Iranians have no idea. And it forces them, and particularly in these diplomatic negotiations, it forces them into a much weaker position tactically because they have no idea whether the president's going to strike at any given moment. And that certainly is a psychological impact on the leaders of Iran and a huge advantage in the United States' court.
Okay, so there's this uniquely detailed article in the New York Times about what's going on inside Iran right now, and it says that Iran is operating on the basis that a U.S. military strike is inevitable and imminent, and they go on to say the country has positioned its ballistic missiles so that they could hit Israel, and it also says that they are along the southern shore of the Persian Gulf within range of American military bases. So if this limited strike does take place that the president is weighing and you say could lead to the possible best outcome for the United States in the end, I mean, there is that risk to our military bases in the region. So how should we contend with that, and how concerned should we be about that?
Well, we should be concerned. The Iranians are certainly not 12 feet tall, like some in Washington have made them out to be. But the Iranians, as we saw during the Soleimani strike, where they retaliated against U.S. troops, and they actually severely injured with traumatic brain injuries a number of U.S. troops in early 2020. They have capabilities, and they certainly in last year they retaliated against Israel, and they sent a barrage of missiles, and Israelis were hiding in bomb shelters because of the Iranian retaliation. That said, the retaliation is, I think, can be contained, and that's why we've sent THAAD missiles and Patriot batteries to the region to protect our installations. The Israelis, of course, have Iron Dome and other capabilities. So I think this is all containable for a limited strike. We just have to make a decision about what's in our best interest, as I said, Carly, and I think that's a targeted surgical strike, and retaliation can be dealt with.
Yeah, and man, there's another round of protests taking place inside Iran right now, 40 days after, they have that 40-day mourning period. The number of deaths that took place in December and January, so that is taking place and proves that Iran isn't only fighting for, a potential military action from the United States and Israel, but their own political survival as well, which certainly factors into everything here. We do have to leave it there. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. We're certainly going to talk to you in the days ahead.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.